I'm going to bring Susan on stage here. Hello, Susan Crossman.
Hello, hello, hello.
You look beautiful in the pink. Love it. So I need to tell you a bit about Susan. Susan Crossman is a writer and adventuress who lives to harness the power of a good story well told. We've been talking about stories all day. In recent years, she has gone ziplining in Costa Rica, lugging down a mountain in New Zealand, and trekking in the hills of North Kathmandu. Having written 5 traditionally published books herself, Susan works as a book coach and editor to help other forward-thinking entrepreneurs polish their stories to make a difference in the world. She also speaks several languages, and she has earned both a Master Practitioner designation in Neuro-Linguistic Programming, NLP, and a Behavior, LAB, profile, and the, I missed that. And I'm doing so well with the reading, and there's so many long words here. A master's degree in English. She's trained in language and behavior, LAB, profile, and the Enneagram system of personality profiling. She's just got too many certifications to handle. She is a certified awakening coach. She is a good friend of mine. She is the recent award winner. Well, you just won an award. What award did you just win?
It was, the Women Changing the World's International Award for Excellence in Literature.
Yeah. I don't know where that, I keep telling her it's got to be on there. I don't know where that award is. It should be front and center. There we go. There it is. Hey. So yeah, she is so accomplished. She really knows her stuff. She's so passionate about telling stories. Just such a generous soul. And I'm so happy to have Susan here because she has been speaking for well, I don't want to say for ages because that makes it sound like you've been around a while, but she's so good at it. And I'm just so happy that you're here, Susan. Thanks for being here today.
Well, what a delight to be here, Danielle. Thank you so much for including me.
Yeah, of course. And I'm so glad that you're my last speaker because I feel like if we go over a little bit, it'll be okay. No, seriously, it's so good to see you. And so I think you've got so much going on. I mean, especially in the publishing world, but just, you do so much. Can you tell the audience a little bit about just kind of what you're about, what your core kind of mission is?
Yeah, I really do live in the miracle zone because I help mission-oriented coaches, entrepreneurs, healers, innovators, people who kind of escape definition, and I help them to write the most compelling books they are capable of writing so they can share their messages and support their businesses, of course, as well. But so I get to hear all kinds of interesting stories, and I get to help people craft their stories so that they really do make a difference in the world. So that's what I do day in and day out. It's just the most magical thing I can possibly imagine doing. And especially for somebody who just loves language, loves books, loves stories. Yeah, I'm that little kid who used to climb up into the apple tree in the backyard with a whole pile of books and pencils and pads of paper, and that was how I spent my time, and I'm still doing it.
I knew we were friends for a reason. That is so that's so cool. I had a thought, then I got excited about the apple tree, and the thought just disappeared. I was like, oh, there's something interesting to ask you, and then I got excited. Yeah, I think, what I was going to say was those of you watching may have noticed that there aren't a lot of conventional personalities on this call, and there's a reason for that. I think I want to really encourage people to be their authentic, weird, wonderful selves. And we get a lot of, like gurus and celebrities, we're all the same. And I think there's a lot of pressure on newer speakers to try and fit into that mold. And I think it's very important. That's why I invited the panel that I invited today, because you are all so successful and you are all so unique. And I know you, Susan, you're a bit of a rule breaker, which is so great. You're a bit of a rebel, and it's wonderful. Yeah, a little bit. You totally are. Don't lie. But it's so important to be able to. There's only one life, and it's your business. And if you're not doing it your way, why are you doing it? Kind of thing. And so I really wanted to just highlight that because I think you do it very gently, Susan, but you are I think you're very much an advocate of people finding their own way,
Yes, I definitely am.
I think that
yes.
That's very true.
Yep. Follow your heart. follow what presents,
Yeah.
forget the rules. I mean, there are conventions. Sometimes, I can see why we have conventions and things like that, especially in writing. As an editor, there are conventions around editing, which I think are very valuable. But I think in terms of living a life, I think it's too short to follow all the rules that everybody thinks that you should be following when it comes to designing your life and crafting your way through it.
And even in editing and in speaking and in living, when we break the rules intentionally, because the rules are there to be followed, but then when you break them intentionally, that's when you really can stand out and you can really make an impact, and people can really, it can be really powerful sometimes, I think. So you work very much in the publishing world and in editing and story coaching, but you also speak, and some people kind of think, I think a lot of people think, oh, I'm an author, I could never speak. So tell me about how speaking fits into your tell me how speaking fits into your business, my dear.
Oh, I speak all the time. It's and uh, I didn't plan on ever doing that because I was one of those people who was absolutely terrified of public speaking all the way through high school and university, and I was never going to be doing that. And now it's built into my life in weird and wonderful ways. I'm speaking on summits and podcasts all the time. Not all the time, maybe, every week or so I'm speaking somewhere. I speak for my own business. I put on a lot of events for my own business. We have a monthly or bi-monthly opportunity for people to come and be part of a community, and I do a little speaking there. I do an annual summit where I'm speaking. I do events. I put on a speaking event for authors in San Diego last year. It's really built into my life in a really major way. So yeah, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid at this point.
So what changed your mind?
Um, it's been an evolution. I can remember when before my first book was published, my creative writing coach had a speaking event at a little coffee shop. And this was the biggest step for me, was to be able to read from my manuscript. It wasn't published yet. And I thought I was going to die. My hands were all sweaty, and my knees were knocking, and my voice disappeared. And the reason I think now was I thought it was all about me. And over the years, I've come to realize it's not about me, it's about my audience. And so when I come from that place, that I'm here to serve people with what I have to offer, then I am so much more generous in how I approach my audience. So I think that was the big change. And also I got a lot of coaching along the way. Coaching is key. And I grew.
Yeah. Yeah, coaching is key. Always having someone to help you out. And it's an interesting path that you took, because I think it's funny, a lot of people today said I didn't think I'd end up speaking. And that's
Mhm.
maybe we're all just a little bit unlikely. But also, you're very successful, and you could potentially be quite successful what you do without speaking. Where do you think speaking fits in to, like, did you start speaking and did it just up your success a little bit, or did you get very successful and then start speaking, or like where did it fall in the process of where you think,
Mm,
things kind of clicked for you as far as being a business owner goes?
yeah, I kind of backed into speaking. I over the COVID-19 pandemic, I started offering things online, as a lot of people did, and the way to promote all of that was to tell people about it. Well, you can tell people about it in onesies and twosies when you get on a call with somebody, or you can tell 10 people at once or 50 people at once. And that's speaking. Speaking is one on one for sure. But also,
Totally.
when you have, yeah, we're speaking all the time anyway. It's just how many people are you speaking to? And I came to realize over the pandemic that, yeah, if I really want to make a difference in people's lives, then I need to be telling more people about what I do and how I can serve. And I do have a mission. I've come to realize, probably it's been, I don't know, over the last 7 or 8 years, that I'm really here to make a difference. It's wonderful to make money with our businesses, but how much better is it when we can help people live better lives? So the people who I'm here to work with as an author coach and an editor are specifically the people who have a message that's going to help people somehow with
Yeah.
living better lives, unlocking potential, running better businesses, coming from the heart, all of those things. That's what I want to do. I want to contribute to peace on earth. And I can do that by helping people write better books. But I think I want to amplify that through speaking. And I came to realize, it was kind of a dawning realization, that I could reach more people through speaking and make a bigger difference in the world through speaking. And that's really, yes, I had generated a fair bit of success already. I was respected with what I was doing. And I just came to, bit by bit, realize, wait a minute, I can help more people in the world by speaking.
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't necessarily need to start speaking and your business at the same time. Like you can,
No.
you absolutely can. It can be part of your marketing plan right from the get-go. Or you can be in business for quite some time and then want to level up, want to leverage, want to increase conversions, and that's why you go to speaking. Or you could go to speaking as, like, for me, to be honest, I'm terrible at every other type of marketing. So it was the only the only recourse that I had, because you know, I could speak in person very easily. And I realized that, like, oh, maybe speaking in public isn't that different from speaking one on one. And really, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't feel that different. Yeah, it's heightened. But I think the one of the things that stops us, that kind of gets in our way, is that we think we've got this line somewhere where speaking one on one and speaking to a group are different skills, and I have to be a different person, or I have to present a different way. And the truth is, you can always be yourself. So for you, this kind of, do you see, like, in your clients, like, do you get your clients to speak, or do you just reach your clients through speaking?
I serve my clients through speaking, I think, is the way to look at it. I run
Oh, I like
an
that.
annual summit, and I bring 23 other speakers every year together to talk about book publishing, book marketing, book writing, inner work for around book writing, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. So to me, that's an act of service
yeah,
around that. And I do encourage my clients to speak, and a lot of them don't want to. And that's okay. We've all got to find our own path. But I do see speaking as a very powerful way to promote your books.
mm,
So if you're wanting to get some exposure for your book, public speaking on podcasts, on summits, at events, conferences, it's an incredibly powerful way to get your message out about your book as well as your business.
when I think about how many books I've read because I saw someone speak, yeah, it really is. Like, that's pretty much how I
Yeah.
find my reading list these days, is through referrals. Like, someone's read it and told me it's amazing, or I've
Yeah.
seen that author speak somewhere and I
Yeah.
want to learn more. Yeah, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot out there. You got to differentiate yourself somehow.
Well, I mean, and thousands of books are published every day on Amazon. How are
Exactly.
you going to differentiate yourself? And one of the ways you can do that very elegantly is by becoming a speaker.
Yeah. What was your most surprising obstacle when it came to learning how to speak?
Well, as a recovering perfectionist, I would have to say that it was that belief that it had to be perfect, that first talk had to be absolutely perfect, and I would get almost physically ill preparing a talk initially, because I would go over it and over it and over it, and I beat myself up because no, that's not the right way to say it, and well, what's the order of things? Like, should I change the order of that? And it's never going to be good enough because I'm not a speaker. So there was an identity issue around how a speaker is a certain way. There's a certain presentation around being a speaker, and I'm not that. I'm not highly polished, and I don't wear the $3,000 suits, and I don't.
Mm,
Yeah, I just don't have all that. So I thought that's what you had to have in order to be a successful speaker. And I was the straight A student who needed to study. Love to study. I love achievement. All those things. And I think that perfectionism really got in my way for a very long time when I first started to embrace speaking.
I think that's such a common thing, and especially spending forever on the trying to get the script perfect. I've always this is why I don't let my speakers use scripts, which I know can sound scary. I have a system. It's not like I just throw
Yeah,
you in the deep end, but this is one of the reasons I don't let my beginner speakers use scripts because it's such a wonderful procrastination tool and it's such a wonderful
right.
way to beat yourself up. So I think it's very common that people use trying to get the script perfect as a way of hiding. What advice would you give to younger speakers? Well, not younger, but like newer speakers, people who are young in their speaking career. What advice would you give them to kind of overcome that?
Well, my biggest advice would be to go to your event, actually. That would be step one is, what you offer in terms of giving people real assistance for leveraging who they already are so that they can be more comfortable speaking. I think that's number one. And a 3-day immersion in that, can you just imagine? I wish that had been available to me when I was at the beginning of my speaking efforts because I did find my way to coaching, thank goodness. I think
Yeah.
everybody needs a coach when it comes to speaking. How can you possibly be expected to know how to be a great speaker if you've never done it before? It's like anything. We need assistance, and I think that's the other thing. You don't need to do it alone.
Oh
Whether
yeah.
it's book writing or public speaking or owning a stage, you really don't. I'd say 99% of the successful people I know have gotten assistance with all of the things in their businesses and the things that they're doing. Like you don't do it alone. Nobody does it alone. Don't be a
Nobody does
lone
it alone.
ranger. Yeah. So yeah, I would say definitely that. Yeah, I'm very excited about your event, and I think also your coaching generally, Danielle, is that something else I would inspire people to do is to work with a pro, and Danielle is a complete pro. So yeah, definitely. Um, and connect with why you want to do it. That's the other really important piece. For me in the authoring world, a lot of people, as I mentioned, they speak in order to bring visibility to their books. And but first you need to know why you want to do that.
Yeah.
Like why do you want to get the visibility? And so I think connecting to that why is really important in everything, and especially in speaking, because that'll also drive which speaking engagements you're going to be looking for.
Uh-huh.
So, and how
Yeah.
you market yourself and all those things. You got to know why.
Yeah, that is really huge. And I imagine writing is even more lonely than being a solopreneur. You know,
It can be.
and we all have those. I mean, I definitely have those nights where, the day's gone really well, but then I'm burning the midnight oil working on whatever I'm working on. And you just start to feel a little bit alone and a little bit like, why am I doing this? And the doubts creep in,
Yeah,
when we don't get enough support from our community, from coaches, from other people. So it's very
yeah,
easy to let those doubts take hold if you don't have community or a coach or support of some sort. So
yeah,
I think that's huge is reaching out and yeah, whatever support looks like for you. I mean personally, you know, you don't have to have the same coach for a long period of time, but I don't trust a coach who doesn't have a coach because do they think that they're perfect? Do they think that they've arrived? Because
yeah,
we don't ever really arrive. I mean, we can arrive to base camp, but there's
yeah.
always more.
Well, and that's the other point I would like to make too is it's a marathon, not a sprint. You're not
Mm,
going to learn it all in an hour and a half and be able to manage your speaking career beautifully. This is something we develop over years quite often, our prowess in the speaking world. So
yeah, it's true. It's true. And what were the kind of biggest, I'm asking you this because I feel like I don't know what the answer, I'm not asking because it's a leading question. I know what the answer is,
okay.
but I just feel like we know each other well and you'll be honest and vulnerable. What do you think some of the biggest mistakes you made were? Like, do you have any like, oh my goodness, that's so cringe. I can't believe I did
Oh,
that.
oh, golly, let me think.
Just to put you on the spot.
Oh yeah, going over time.
Oh,
I went over half an hour once because I was, yeah, well, and for people who maybe don't know, when you're given a speaking slot, you're given the organizer will tell you how long you're supposed to speak. And there I was having a wonderful time serving my audience. And I went half an hour over, and I got off the stage and saw how long I'd gone over and above what I was supposed to. And I just thought, oh, that is so rude. So I'd say that that's probably the worst mistake that I've made. And timing is a challenge. Like you've got to know what your timing is. You need to practice your talk. Like,
Yeah.
so I'd say I've done that a couple of times. I don't do that anymore. And that perfectionist piece, like reading from a script, I've done that. Yep, came across like an absolute wooden doll. Very impressive.
Perfect, perfect words, perfect
I
word
did.
choice,
It
and
was
everything
perfect.
else. Oh my goodness, snore.
I didn't miss a single word, and there I was reading along. No engagement whatsoever. Yeah,
Oh.
don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
do
do
that.
that.
It is a different skill. I actually think of reading in public and speaking in public as two completely different skills. They're different
Ooh,
skill sets, and don't confuse the two.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Nobody really wants you to get up and read to them if you're supposed
If
to be
you're reading an
giving them a talk.
excerpt from your book, that's a totally different
Yes,
thing. And that is its own thing, and it's very special and it's very beautiful.
yeah.
But never bring that up into I am now speaking extemporary. It's like, don't do it.
Uh-uh,
Yeah.
uh-uh.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is a lot about delivery.
Yeah.
It's practicing that delivery.
Yeah, developing that internal clock. Did you ever? I haven't spoken in front of real human people in the same room since COVID. I will eventually again, but I'm flitting around the world right now, so I'm staying online. But one of my favorite tricks, and I don't know if you've ever done this, I used to put a clock on the wall right in front of me, on the back wall, so that I could always see what time it was, so that I never went overtime. And I just
Yeah.
traveled, have clock will travel. I had
Oh,
this little
good
wall
idea.
clock wherever I went.
What a great idea. Oh, I never did that. I do like a clock though. I mean, when I'm speaking, I have a clock right in front. Like I've got a timer. Actually, if it's a Zoom-based event, there are online timers you can get. And I
Yes.
have that sitting up in the corner of my computer monitor with the time on it. So I do know where I am and how much time I've got left.
Yeah.
And when I'm running an event, my tech lady, who's the director of operations in my company, she is absolutely wonderful because she will text me, you've got 10 minutes left, you've got 5 minutes left, you've got 2 minutes left, and those little text messages pop up and they're a really great reminder, oh, I got to speed up. so so it's helpful to have a person helping you with all of that stuff.
Yeah. And speaking of support and community, yeah, it's really so nice to have someone else on the call with you or in the event with you to help you out. And I would really recommend to everyone, even if you don't have like a regular, assistant, having someone to be at an event, like an in-event assistant, is worth its weight in gold. Like always do that. But also just things like thinking about for support. You've been doing your summit for your authors for quite some time, like a good few years. And that's kind of like support too, because you're bringing in a whole bunch of speakers. So there are
Yeah.
lots of different ways to speak to serve your audience. And a summit is a lot of work, but it also means you're not doing all the speaking. So can you talk about how that experience is maybe different? Like you have lots of different ways that you use speaking in your business. Can you talk about like how
Mm.
the experiences are the same and different?
Oh, sure. Well, the summit I absolutely love. It's my favorite thing that I do. Well, other than coaching and other than editing and other than working.
One of your favorite things.
Like I say, I live in the miracle zone. I've been able to craft a business for myself that lets me do all of my favorite things. Like it's just I live in the miracle zone. I just can't believe how lucky I am, and yet I know I've given up a lot. Early on there was no salary, which was not really fun
Mhm.
initially, but I've been in business for years and years and years and years. But yeah, so the summit, we've done 7 summits now. So I've interviewed 140, 150 people who are, as I say, they're publishers, they're book marketing experts, they're publicists, they do anything book related. And so I get to learn So speaking is a way for me to learn, which I just, one of my highest values is learning. So it's built into what I do. And so I interview people. And way back when, at the beginning of my career, I was a journalist, sort of the kind of the official
Right.
part of my career. Yeah, I just loved it.
Yeah.
So I had to interview people. That's part of what you do when you're a journalist. And so I didn't imagine at that point in my life that I could actually get paid to interview people. That was kind of an aspect of speaking. That was
Yeah.
that was just not on in the plan for me at that point. So I didn't know you could do that. But it was a skill that I developed over a number of years in journalism, because like I say, that's one of the important skill sets in journalism, is the interviewing to get the information, and then writing in order to summarize what it is people have told you and synthesize all that. So
Mm.
that's the big part of how I speak now, is through the summit. The community events that we run, I do webinars, and I also do this little bi-monthly meeting of where I bring people in for an hour, and we do like I'll do a little bit of teaching around writing and book publishing or marketing or whatever it happens to be that month. And that's speaking, but again, it's just sharing what I know.
Yeah.
It's speaking, and yet it's something that I know about. And our events too, we do book writing events. So to me, a lot of speaking is teaching.
Hmm.
Like I love teaching. I think I probably might have been a teacher in another life, because I just love sharing with people all the cool stuff that I've learned, because it's really fun. But that's part of speaking,
Yeah.
um, is sharing that. Now, the other piece of that, if you're an entrepreneur, is how are you going to make money out of sharing that with people?
Mm.
So you got to keep your eye on that ball too, which is another kind of speaking. Not just
Yeah.
sharing information, but sharing information intentionally with the hope that people will want to work with you too.
Mhm.
So I do that a fair bit as well.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, there are so many sneaky ways to speak, and also sneaky ways to make money through speaking.
Yeah.
I often speak to beginner speakers about, go to interviews, do podcasts, because it's less scary because there's someone else to hold your hand. But
Yeah.
I forget to tell people that you can be the one doing the interviews. It's a skill in itself. It's super fun. It takes
Yeah.
a lot of the pressure off because it's not about you. All you need to do is make the other person look good. That's your job. So that's great.
Yeah.
And it also positions you as an expert. There's
Mhm.
a credibility you get from that. So there's so many different things we can do, that I think we kind of think of public speaking as one very narrow channel, but there's so much. And we can do video blogs, and we can do all sorts of things. So you have lots of events and things going on, and I know you have an event coming up in June, don't you, as well? But you also have a gift for folks who come to my event. So I have an event next week. I nearly said next month. No, next week, May 20th to 22nd, Ignite True Speaking Confidence. It's a 3-day immersive event on how to lean into what makes you special, have fun speaking, enjoy it, and really start owning that confidence of and that ease of speaking. But you have a gift to give people if they come to all 3 days. If they come to all 3 days, you are pledging a wonderful, exciting gift for folks. So can you tell us a bit about that?
I sure can. It's called Right on Track, and it is a 6-module course, self-study course on how to write a book. And it's really the guidance that some people want to do it with other people, some people just want to try their hand at writing a book by themselves. And this is a really good uh, program to make sure that people address the issues they need to address while they're working through that book. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to write a book, and is a lot of complexity to it as well. But this is my effort to help people who are speakers who maybe want to have a book to support their speaking career as well, so that they can get started on that too.
And they really do go hand in hand. In fact, it's come up over and over again during the summit how often uh, people who are writers will move to speaking as part of how to promote their book, but people who are speaking will often write a book as part of supporting their speaking career. And so they do really go hand in hand. Having a book and being a speaker, they
Yeah.
really do go together. And if that is something that you have been thinking about, because I know a lot of people are kind of the same way, that they're like, oh, I know I should be speaking for my business. There's also a lot of, oh, I know I should have a book for my business. So this is perfect. You get everything. It's
Uh,
$47 to come to my 3-day event next week, and you get this 6-module course on how to write a book. So you can be speaking. You can use a lot of the content you speak about in your book. Just going to say that there's a lot of
mhm.
overlap there too. So if you're a writer, you can use your book and base your speech on your book. But if you're a speaker, you can take what you've been speaking about and put it in your book. They complement one another. They do not need to be separate. They can be together. So this is just such a serendipitous gift. It's perfect. Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Yeah, it's true that that book is a door opener for a lot of speaking engagements. That's for sure. It's a portal into a whole other lifetime of experiences.
And people who want to interview you, now they have a book to interview you about, and people who were thinking, oh, we're not sure if we want to pay you because who are you? Oh, you're the writer of this book. Now suddenly you have credibility. There are a lot of doors that having a book will open for you as a speaker. Absolutely.
Definitely. Yes, ma'am.
And there's lots of ways to approach it. And so once you've got your book, you talk to Susan about polishing it and really getting the storytelling part really tight
Yeah,
and getting it out there in a way that suits your business, because we're all different, as we know.
exactly.
As we know,
No,
we're all
go
different.
back to your why.
Go back to
Why are you doing it?
how does it fit in? We all have different goals, and there is no right way to do business. There is no right way to do speaking. There's no right way to write a book. There are best practices, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's not the same. It's not the same as rules. So, Susan, I love talking to you, and we will talk more, of course. But can you tell us, just as the end of this particular conversation comes to an end, can you tell our audience, especially to people who are maybe a little bit nervous about speaking or near the beginning of their career as speakers, maybe not as business owners, what is your golden nugget of advice for them?
Well, it might be a little unconventional. So,
Excellent.
if you will allow me to be a little unconventional, I do believe that there is a purpose for all of us on this planet, and that if an opportunity has shown up in your life, then there's a reason for that opportunity as well, and it's probably tied in with what you're here to do in this world. And so if speaking is showing up right now for you, and it is, if you're watching this presentation and this, if you're part of this amazing summit, then speaking is showing up for you, then I really encourage you to step into that, because you don't know where it's going to take you, but it's probably going to be somewhere really good.
If you're waiting for a sign, this is your sign.
This
If
is
you're
your
waiting
sign.
for
Yep.
someone to tell you,
Stop
this is us
waiting.
telling you.
Yeah,
Wait
exactly.
no longer.
Exactly. The signs are all over the place. And yeah, just lean in. When opportunity shows up, jump for it. Say yes.
Say yes. Yes. And say yes with support and a community and someone. Don't say yes and then run away and
And
be all by yourself and be upset that you're feeling lonely. Get some support. Say yes, get some support. Yeah.
yep. Yep. And I mean, your summit or your event is a really prime example. It's showing up. Say yes. It's as simple as that.
Say yes. Say yes to yourself.
Yeah.
So, Susan, I am saying yes to finishing this conversation
Yes.
because we're going to have to wrap it up. But I
Awesome.
just thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for
Mm.
sharing your wisdom, for your I love your gentle unconventionalism. You're really, you're setting a path for people. There are so many different ways to do things. There are so many different ways to be successful and to find your own version of success. You can be you and be successful. We don't all have to be Oprah or Tony Robbins. We can be ourselves and love our lives. And thank you for being the perfect embodiment of that, Susan. You are wonderful.
Mm.
Thank you.
Back at you, sister.
No.